from Rome. There's a big election going on there. A lot of candidates in the mix. What are we at? Are we at 5 here? 5 candidates challenging the current mayor of Fusco. Mike Brown is a Democrat and is in studio now. Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well.
In full disclosure, I do TV commercials for one of the candidates in the race, Jackie Izzo. So to be fair, I want that to be out up front.
And I won't hold it against you.
But I think I'm a pretty fair person, I believe. If I'm not, call me out on it. All right?
All right.
And you
or
won't
we
hold
will
that
call
against
you
me.
out on it.
Yeah,
Right.
They will, trust me. All right, so tell me, first of all, there's a lot of talk about a debate.
Yes.
Let's get into that a little bit. Is there going to be a debate?
Very excited. Debate on the 2nd.
Which is right before the primary and all the candidates. So it won't be a Democrat debate. It'll be all candidates,
Exactly.
Democrats,
The
Republicans.
League of Women Voters has been really great, and the Capitol Theater has been really great as far as being a host entity.
And you say you guys were instrumental in...
Oh, yeah. David, my campaign manager, got on the horn with League of Women Voters because, we went on the social media, and I said, gee, we'd love to have a debate. And the Capitol spoke up and said, well, we'd host it if you can find an organization. So we put out the call for an organization, and finally the League of Women Voters stepped up and said, we'll do it. So,
and they do a great job.
They
really do a great job.
Maybe something we want to cover and it is nobody likes those near especially a primary because it's both of them. Remember, your battle is the Democrats and the Republicans are looking. Now it's putting everybody in together,
which I think is going to be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of excitement. Yeah. Capitol holds 1,750 people. Let's pack it.
You're like a very non-political person. This is your first spin at this?
I'm a complete novice.
Yeah. You're also a shoot-from-the-hip guy, if I recall, from the last time that we had you.
Absolutely.
Would you be like the Donald Trump of this?
Maybe, except I have better hair.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, he has more.
No one will debate
he does.
that.
He does.
Yeah.
Have you seen the logo that's going around on Facebook right now? It's a side view of the Donald with the
I've
stripes.
seen that. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. All right. So what do you bring to the mix? Why you as mayor of Rome?
Because I'm an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm somebody that's come to Rome 11 years ago. I've watched Rome. I worked with the city of Rome as a Main Street director. I've had businesses in Rome, and I see what Rome needs. I've been outside. I've traveled the world. I've lived most of my life in various places, watching and learning. And the rest of the mix, they're all Romans. They've all been pretty much insular, and let's face it, Rome's being run by a Roman right now, and it's not going anywhere.
So you have, I thought something interesting that I saw on your Facebook page. The economies of Rome and Utica are inextricably linked. I got through that.
Absolutely.
They've always been, always will be. The two communities are connected in many, many ways, historically, socially, and economically. Talk about that a little bit.
I love...
Because they tend to be very independent.
They do. They do. They tend
the people.
The people.
Yeah.
It's interesting coming in from outside the area. Okay. Again, moving here 11 years ago, I looked at the area and I went, "Oh, this is a metro area." Okay. So Rome's got great neighborhoods. It's got Griffiths Park. Okay. It's got the county airport. Utica's got a downtown. Rome doesn't have a downtown. Okay. New Hartford's got the shopping district.
Right.
This is a metro area, and all of these communities have to work together to make up the metro area. Because I moved here from Greater Boston. Greater Boston, same sort of thing. You got downtown, and then you've got various areas that specialize in the various things. So Rome plugs in very neatly into the niche, but it's got to work with Utica.
Yeah.
It's got to work with Marcy. It's got to work with Clinton, with New Hartford, Holland Patton. It's a metro area.
Were you in town when the base was alive and well?
I was not.
But I'm sure you've heard
Absolutely.
a lot of it. Yeah. And it's hard to get past that because that was a huge loss.
But you know what? We got to get past it, Bill.
Yeah.
It's all these years now past, and I get so tired of hearing, well, when the base was here. Well, you know what? It's not here. We got to move on, and we've got so much we can do without wallowing in self-pity.
What do you think of the nanotech?
I think it's a great idea. I was over there for the PSC hearing last week. I saw that building. It's magnificent. Boy, I hope the jobs come. If they build it, will they come?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We
I'm
hear
hoping.
it is happening. How many jobs we're talking about? We don't know, but we hear it's going to happen sometime in August.
And you know what? I want them to move to Rome. and I need reasons for them to move to Rome.
Right. Well, let's get into that.
Okay. My big thing is we've got to stabilize our housing market in Rome. We've got 362 vacant properties in Rome. It's killing us. There's 34,000 residents and 362 vacant buildings. Wrap your head around that one, okay? We need people to move into those and increase our tax base because the tax rate is killing our middle class in Rome. Now, if we can pull in some of these young people, these are going to be 20 and 30 something techno geeks, okay?
Right.
And those kids want to have a quality of life. They want things to do. Utica's doing it really well.
How do you handle the problem though with and they say, and I'm not sure we'll find out how true this is, but they don't want the big house, and there's some big, beautiful homes in Rome that need to be filled. The picket fence is the way we do it in terms of cliche. They don't want that picket fence. How do you deal with that?
Condos, upscale rentals. We need ways to attract these kids. But you know what we need most of all? At the PSC hearing last week, we're trying our darndest to get Verizon to do the right thing and step up and do the broadband. The FiOS, I don't see it happening. They don't care. I think the communities need to step up and do it themselves. I want Rome to have its own broadband system. I think if people come into the area and they look at the area and they go, okay, I could buy a house in Marcy, I could buy a house in New Hartford, I could buy a loft in Utica, or I could buy a big old house or a condo in Rome, and you know what? By gosh, Rome's got gigabit internet.
Yeah.
I'm going to move to Rome because that's what I want.
I will tell you a little something, and I'm 50, so I clearly don't fall into that category. However, I'm a tech person, and I literally went to a certain bank only, despite what you heard about the fees. I went to that bank for one reason: their app.
Yeah.
And because if I'm doing that at age 50. What are these 20, 25, 30-year-olds doing?
They're living and breathing via the internet. And if we can't give them the access, they're not going to come to our towns. They're not.
So how do you we'll go to Manaski here.
Well, I just wanted to tell you, I know you're a political newcomer. You've got one of the most comprehensive, well-laid-out websites I've seen from a candidate locally. There's a couple of things you say on here that I want to ask you about.
Sure.
The taxes and budget. Taxes are too high. We've heard that before. Of course, I think any candidate for office will say that. You talk about this shell game that's going on in Rome. Explain what you mean by that.
Okay. The budget in Rome is fascinating. I went over the budgets for like the last 8 or 10 years, all right? And when you look at the budget from 10 years ago, and you look at all the budget lines, okay, and then the next year, it's the exact same budget, okay, laid out exactly the same way, increased by maybe 3%. And the next year, it's the exact same. They're not budgeting. They're just repeating the old budget and increasing the numbers, and then when they need to move money around, they move money around. They're not setting up, they're not doing their due diligence every single year and working their butts off to come up with a realistic budget that reflects what's going on in the town at that time.
And it's very difficult, though, if you're going to lower taxes. I mean, everybody says that, right? That has become cliche. I will lower taxes. How do you without
the
cutting,
only ways you're going to lower taxes is to increase revenue. Okay, we got to come up with creative ways to increase revenue, and towns all over the country are fighting this. Okay, because they've got again the absentee landlords, they've got the shut down buildings, they've got the zombie homes, and that's a loss of income.
Right.
We got to fix that. How do you fix that? That's a conundrum.
Yep.
You got to get people in. How do you get people in?
Is there room to cut? You looked at the budget. Is there room to cut?
There is room to cut. Yeah.
Where do you cut?
You got to. You can't.
That's the awful trap question.
The killer is you can't just go through and I'll use a quote that our mayor likes to use: willy-nilly cut. You can't just willy-nilly do it. You have to be very, very creative. But my gut says don't even cut so much as increase revenue.
Right.
Do whatever you can do. Like the city, for example, is doing one of the things that I suggested months ago, and they're looking for funding for a generator for out at the water treatment plant to at least run the water treatment plant, which I think is fantastic because that's a municipality's biggest electric bill.
Right.
Okay, just bar none.
Yeah.
But what they could do is they could do more of that, and they could actually generate income.
Yeah. More on you have.
Well, also here you talk about the business and economy. I know you touched on that a bit, but again, it's imperative we have a kick-ass economic development team and strategy from the moment the new administration takes office. What's the strategy? What's not being done currently that you
Does it say
fix?
kick-ass on the website?
It says kick-ass economic development team.
That's out of the box a little bit.
You gotta. Okay, one of the things I did when I was Main Street manager is I worked with the Brown administration. And when somebody would come to town and they would say, I want to open up a business, Brown's office would send them right to the Main Street office. And I would hold their hand and I would say, all right, this is what we got to do. You got to know this person. You got to know this person. You got to go to this. These are your banks, okay? These are the people in City Hall that you need to know.
Yeah.
Nobody is doing that for the city of Rome. Nobody wants to come into Rome and go into business because they're fighting an uphill battle. It's killing our tax base.
There's a commercial that airs right now. It's a tourism commercial, and the mayor is on the commercial, and it looks like things are really, really good.
Nothing's good.
Okay.
Nothing's good. Again, I don't mean to cry and whine, but nothing's good. This administration pink slipped and got rid of half the people in City Hall 3.5 years ago when they came in because they had nothing but disdain for the previous administration. That is wrong. That is absolutely wrong.
Do you know that's why they got rid of them instead of just downsizing to be more?
Oh,
fiscally
absolutely.
prudent?
That's why they got rid of them. That's why that house got torn down in Rome because it was emblematic of the previous administration. The big orange house that I put the float in the parade 2 weeks ago. This is not the way to run a town. You don't run a town through intimidation, and you don't run a town through payback. All right? You don't make promises to people that you're going to get them jobs and then get rid of half your staff, because then you spend the next 4 years coming from behind, and who pays for it? The taxpayers. This does not work. Therefore, nothing has happened in Rome for 3.5 years. He's held on to grant money that could have been spent in the previous 3.5 years, and only now are things starting to happen because it's election year. And I think it's bull.
I wish you were just more passionate. I mean, you just lack the passion.
Oh,
that
do
is
you
needed.
even care?
Well, you know what?
Do you care?
What's frustrating to me is that there's this palpable sense of anger in Rome. I was at a third ward meeting the other night, and people are scared. People don't have work. People want jobs. People are scared of the drug deals going down on their back stoop. A little old lady sitting in this ward meeting going, I'm scared to go outside of my house. The NIMO doesn't fix my lights, and there's drug deals going on outside the door.
Yeah.
People want help. They need leadership. The leadership is not there. It's a vacuum.
I want to. So I know Rome, and I know a lot of Romans. And one of my producers was Justin Cortez, is a lifelong Roman, although he's working out of the area right now. He will say that the thing that you're using right off the bat when you said, I'm an outsider, everyone else is a Roman, he would say that will be your demise because outsiders just can't make it in Rome.
Absolutely
what do you
not.
say to that?
You know what? There's a lot of smart people in Rome, and a lot of smart people are looking at the situation and going, okay, Romans aren't fixing the problem. The reality is that I'm not an outsider. I've been there for 11 years. I own properties in Rome. Between my two properties in Rome, there's 5 vacant homes. There's 2 drug houses. These are problems. I brought my mom to Rome and put her in a house a block away from me. And between those 2 houses, there's those issues. These are urban problems. They need to be dealt with.
Yeah.
They can't. And again, the police are doing what they can do. The neighborhoods need to step up. We need to organize. City Hall needs to lead.
All right, very interesting. You'll come back.
Absolutely.
The debate, you say, will happen on the 2nd of September.
Which is a Wednesday at
Capitol
Capitol
Theater.
Theater. 1,750 seats. There's plenty of room for everybody that wants to come. At 7 o'clock. And please be there and have questions ready and quiz all the candidates, because you know what? People aren't talking. We can't even get the word out in our local newspaper in Rome. They won't print editorials from the candidates.
Yeah,
I don't
heard
understand
that. What
it.
is with that? Yeah.
I'm telling you, I can't wrap my head around that. At least the OD will give you. And again, to be fair, the OD is a bigger paper. They've got a bigger circulation base.
Yeah.
They'll even give you 200 words once a month. The local paper in Rome, absolutely not. They don't want to hear it.
All right. Very interesting. The candidate is Mike Brown, running as a Democrat. The primary is on the 10th. The debate, he says, is on the 2nd, so going to be very interesting. Thanks for coming
everybody.
in. We'll have you back.